morning. This is the March 24th, 2022 coastal.
I'm sorry, sir. Nash, I unmuted you. We are ready to go now.
All right. Good morning. This is the March 24th, 2022 coastal permit administrator hearing. It is 10 a.m. So with that, let me start off by stating that the Mendocino County Coastal Permit Administrator meetings will be conducted virtually and not available for in-person public participation. The provisions of the Government Code Section 54953 and the recommendation of the Mendocino County Health Officer meetings are live streamed and available for viewing on the Mendocino County YouTube page. Okay, so 10 a.m. I call the meeting to order. And do we have a determination of notice?
All items have been noticed properly.
Thank you. That takes us to item 3A on our regular calendar. This is case CDPR-2021-0004, CDPM 2021-0002. The owner applicant is Dave Duffield. Agent is Wind Coastal Planning. The request is a standard coastal development permit renewal of CDP 2018-0013 and modification to authorize demolition of an existing 3,200 square foot residence and foundation to make lot vacant. Modifications include major vegetation removal of dead and dying trees outside of deed restricted area and repair replacement of existing dilapidated culvert. Tree removal within dead restricted area will be processed by the California Coastal Commission. The project has been determined to be categorically exempt from CEQA. The project is located within the coastal zone on the west side of State Route 1, 0.75 plus minus miles north of its intersection of Fish Rock Road, located at 34,200 South Highway 1 in Gualala. Assessor's parcel number 143161-03. May I please get a staff report?
Yes, good morning. Mark Kleiser, Planner 2, planner for this project. Before I begin my presentation, I'd like to address a couple items in the staff report. On page 2, under related applications, the staff report incorrectly states that CDP 2018-0013 expired on April 25th, 2020. That project actually expired on March 26th, 2021. Page 3, under agency comments, the Gualala MAC did respond previously to referrals sent for CDP 2018-0013. At their October 4th, 2018 meeting, the MAC recommended approval to demolish the existing residence and foundation to make the lot vacant. And finally, on page 5, under hazards management, paragraph 4, line 7, the report incorrectly states that condition 11 is recommended that the property owner record a deed restriction, which would require cleanup of any portions of the development that might fall onto the beach or into the ocean. This condition should be number 12, and since then, staff has learned that this condition has been satisfied. As such, condition 12 should be removed from the conditions of approval. So, as indicated, the project is for renewal of Coastal Development Permit number 2018-13. This is for the removal of a single-family residence and foundation. That CDP was approved on March 28, 2019. The applicant has since modified the renewal to include major vegetation removal and replacement of a culvert. Best management practices have been included in the original permit as conditions of approval, and these will stay and remain to address the construction of the new culvert. Removal of dead or dying vegetation would be completed using hand tools such as chainsaws and axes. Removed debris shall be loaded into wheelbarrows and transported to trucks within the boundaries of the mapped and approved area of impact. Felled trees will be chipped or burned on site to prevent the spread of pathogens, and tree stumps will remain in place. In 1991, the California Coastal Commission issued permit number 1-91-93 for the construction of the single-family residence on site. The Commission has granted Mendocino County authority to remove the house provided our approval does not include work within the open space deed restricted area. As such, Mendocino County is only approving vegetation removal outside of the open space deed restricted area. The project is consistent with the goals and policies of the local coastal program, general plan, and zoning codes. Additional conditions of approval have been added as a result of the modifications to the project. These conditions are number 9 and 10A, both of which address tree removal and impacts to the Bishop Pine Forests. Staff would also like to add an additional condition which appeared on the approved CDP 2018-13, but which did not make it onto this staff report. This would appear as condition number 15, and if I may, I'd like to read this condition into the record.
Yes.
Okay, the new condition 15 will state, prior to the issuance of the building permit, the applicant as landowner shall execute and record a deed restriction in a form and content acceptable to the coastal permit administrator and county council, which shall provide that A, the landowner understands that in addition to the development limitations of the open space deed restriction required by the original coastal development permit number CCC-1-91-93, an additional biological survey will be required at time of future development to analyze the footprint of the environmentally sensitive habitat areas, which may have expanded into previously developable areas. This will assure that future owners are aware of the requirements of the coastal development permit and that possible future development in the location of the demolished residence may not be feasible. And B, all future improvements and developments shall obtain an amendment to CDP 2018-13 or coastal development permit approved by the coastal permit administrator to ensure that future developments are sited and designed to protect environmentally sensitive habitat areas. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, so based on what you mentioned as far as renumbering and doing away with condition number 12, it looks like you're doing away with condition number 12. You're going to renumber 13 to 12.
Correct, yes.
Renumber 14 to 13. So your new condition 15 is really condition 14.
Yes.
Okay, just
Thank
want to
you.
clarify that for the record. So what I'm would add, unless something changes here, is you provide the language for condition number 14 to Brooke so that the coastal permit can actually contain all the renumbered conditions. So, okay, great. With that, thank you very much for the staff report. Do we have the applicant or the applicant's representative online?
Hello, oops, oh, yeah, sorry. Hi, hello, Nash Gonzalez, Deputy Director with the News Swap. It's a pleasure to see you here today. And Mark Kleiser, thank you, planner. Thank you so much for working your way through this, this project and how it intersects with the Coastal Commission's deed restriction. We are supportive of, or at least generally supportive of the edits as presented. I would like the opportunity to be able to see that those revisions prior to action today. So if there could be, if maybe perhaps this could be continued to the end of the hearing so that that new language could be emailed to me. I didn't quite catch quite so quickly what the change in numbers were. I think that part you could do now more slowly, but if, you know, I was not in the office when the call came in about the language, which I believe the new language is taken partly from the old permit, but I just want to make sure I understand exactly what's happening. And it sounds like perhaps there's another deed restriction that needs to occur. So I just would like that moment to be able to review how that fits in and what the numbers are that are changing.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and just continue this to the end of the meeting. If you can go ahead and provide the applicant with the revised changes.
Okay, I will scan that in and email that.
Sure. Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sure.
All right, so we're going to put this item aside. And one of the things that I'll do at this point is if there's nobody else from the applicant's side that wishes to speak on this matter, I'd like to go ahead and open up the hearing at this point. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this matter?
No communication has been received for that.
All right, so with that said, I'm going to bring it back to the Coastal Permit Administrator and continue this item for the next few minutes. And then we'll move on to the next item. And hopefully we can, get the applicant the revised condition for review. So with that said, let's quickly skip to item 3B. And this is CDP 2021-006. Owner is Mendocino County Department of Transportation. Applicant is Howard DeShield. Agent is James Linderman. The request is a standard coastal development permit to excavate weak slide material, trench on the upslope side of the road to intercept groundwater, and install under drain and backfill the trench with drain rock. Additionally, construct a soldier pile wall with timber lagging and tiebacks. Place under drain immediately behind wall. Install a metal beam guardrail on top of the wall and surface the road with aggregate base. The project has been determined to be categorically exempt from CEQA, and the project is located within the coastal zone 0.7 plus minus mile east of Guala Town Center along Guala Road, 0.3 plus minus mile from its intersection with Old Stage Road, located in the county right-of-way at milepost 0.33. May I please get a staff report?
Sure, thank you. Sam Vandy Vandewater, Senior Planner. So as you noted, the request is a standard coastal development permit to repair a landslide that had occurred along Wallala Road. The project was found to be consistent with the policies and procedures of the local coastal program. The project was referred to a number of agencies, and no agency had any comment. Also, as noted, the project was found to be categorically exempt from the requirements of CEQA. Mendocino County Department of Transportation was actually the lead agency and remains the lead agency on this project. The project was found to be consistent with all the required findings pursuant with the Mendocino County Code, and staff recommends approval. And I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Pretty straightforward. Is the applicant on the line?
I believe we have James with us, who is the agent. He also works with Department of Transportation.
All right, well, James, good morning. Any comments that you'd like to bring forward?
Good morning. I have no additional comments for the project. I would like to thank planning staff for their continued assistance and guidance on our projects that involve coastal development permitting. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And you've had a chance to review the conditions of approval?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great. So at this point, I'm going to bring it back to the CPA, and I'm going to ask if there's any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter.
We've received no communication as to that.
All right, so now I'm going to bring this back to the CPA, and based on the evidence presented, the staff report, the findings, and the recommended conditions of approval, I will go ahead and approve the project per the staff report, including findings and the conditions of approval.
Thank you, CPA Gonzalez.
Thank you. That moves us to case number 3C on the agenda, which is CDP 2021-0030. The owner applicant is Pacific Reefs Water District. Agent is Laco Associates. Request is a standard coastal development permit to install a 52,000 gallon water tank and remove the existing 20,000 gallon water tank. Include foundation, plumbing, electrical, and associated structures. The project has been determined to be categorically exempt from CEQA. The project is located in the coastal zone, 0.78 plus minus mile south of Albion, 0.15 plus minus miles west of State Route 1 on the south side of Pacific Reefs Road, located at 34,177 Pacific Reefs Road. Assessor's parcel number 123-034-37. May I please get a staff report?
Thank you, Coastal Permit Administrator Nash Gonzalez. Hello, everyone. My name is Tia Sar. Today I'm presenting Coastal Development Permit 2021-003. Just as Coastal Permit Administrator just mentioned, this is a water tank remove and install. The Pacific Reef Water District was developed in 1964, and an existing non-conforming use which predates the Coastal Act. The proposed project is consistent with the existing non-conforming land use classification and still within the pre-coastal disturbed area, which is allowed to continue the non-conforming use. The project site is zoned rural residential. Although the proposed project and use is not consistent with the rural residential zoning, staff finds that proposed work is consistent with the non-conforming use allowed per MCC section 20.480.005A. On September 22nd, 2021, a referral was sent to multiple agencies. Our department received no critical comments. Please see condition approval number 1 through 10. Staff recommends approve with condition. This concludes staff presentation. I am available to answer questions. The applicant is also present today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is the applicant online?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be Becky. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, this is Becky Dolsky with Lakeland Associates. I'm the agent for Pacific Reefs Water District. I don't have any comments to add and just wanted to thank Tia for all her work on this project, getting through a lot of special project details that we had. It was team effort, I think, and I want to thank Tia and everyone for their work on the project.
Thank you. So with that, are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter?
No requests have been received.
Thank you. So with that, I'll bring it back to the Coastal Permit Administrator. And pretty straightforward project. And based on the evidence provided to me, which includes the staff report, the conditions of approval, and the findings contained in the staff report, I'll go ahead and approve the project subject to the findings and conditions contained in the staff report. Thank you very much. So now we are back to item 3A, which is CDPR 2021-0004/CDPM 2021-0002. I had moved to continue this to the end of the meeting to further discuss the modifications to the conditions of approval. According to staff, we are eliminating condition number 12 as it has been met, and we are renumbering 13 to 12 and 14 to 13 and adding a new condition 14. And it's my understanding that staff has provided the applicant's agent with a copy of the changes. Is the applicant satisfied with the conditions of approval as amended by staff? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was still muted. Thank you, Nash, and thank you, Mark and Brooke. I reviewed the condition, the new condition being added today, and that's fine. That's exactly the same condition that we had as a part of the previous application that we're now modifying. And we've already satisfied that condition with the deed restriction that we recorded in 2019. I've forwarded that deed restriction to staff. It's the same as the deed restriction that addresses the previous item that was removed. Sorry, I'm multitasking because I lost my copy of the deed restriction. Here we go. I should not try to walk and chew gum at the same time. It's not always very effective. So that condition number 14 that's being added today is the same as condition 14 on the recorded document that I just forwarded to Mark Kleiser. I believe he had that previously as well. That's recorded document number 2019-12226. So I'm not sure exactly how that intersects with the deed restriction number 12 being removed, because that's already been satisfied, which is similar to this this new condition, or this repeated condition, which we've already satisfied. So do both conditions need to stay in there and just we acknowledge that they've already been satisfied, or do both conditions get removed? That's my only question.
If I may, through the CPA, condition 12 has been removed. Condition 14 addresses any future development on the property.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So we've already satisfied the new condition 14, or I'm sorry, is that 15? I've got too many different things I'm looking at.
No, condition 12 has been satisfied. This is
Okay.
has been satisfied and removed from the staff report, conditions of approval.
Okay, and then condition 14
Yes.
has already been satisfied as evidenced in the deed restriction, or in the declaration of covenants, conditions and restrictions that we recorded in 2019.
Okay.
So just want to confirm that that's understood, that that's already been satisfied. It's on the last pages as
Okay.
condition.
I think she's referring to 14 that's now 13.
Right.
Right,
Okay.
but the new 14 is
The-
relative to future
The
development.
new 14 is yes, references new development on the parcel.
Super, and that's what, it's the exact same language. So I'll read condition 14 from the deed restriction if you don't mind, which says, prior to the issuance of the building permit, the applicant as a landowner shall execute and record a deed restriction in a form and content acceptable to the coastal permit administrator and county council, which provide that the landowner understands that in addition to the development limitations of the open space deed restriction required by the original coastal development permit, CCC 19193, an additional biological survey will be required at the time of future development to analyze the footprint of the environmentally sensitive habitat areas, ESHA, which may have expanded into previously developable areas. This will assure that future owners are aware of the requirements of the coastal development permit and that possible future development in the location of the demolished residence may not be feasible. And then B, all future improvements and developments shall obtain an amendment to CDP 2018-0013 or coastal development permit approved by the coastal permit administrator to ensure that future developments are sited and designed to protect environmentally sensitive habitat areas, ESHA. So I'm reading that directly from the recorded document. So does it seems redundant to, I just want to have some sort of assurance that we don't have to record a new document since it's already discoverable, that exact language is already discoverable on the deed. And I understand that the condition would need to remain within this condition of approval because it's referencing potential future development, which needs to be, that condition needs to be discoverable through, like an archive review, but that condition has been satisfied through the mechanism of this deed restriction that I just read from 2019, which has that exact language. I just want to make sure that we all, that there's concurrence, that we don't have to record another document that says the same thing.
So back to the CPA, and this is a question for staff. I too want to avoid redundancy,
Right.
but at the same time, we understand, and is it staff's understanding that this condition has been satisfied?
Staff has a deed restriction here. Amy, do you have that in front of you?
Yeah, I just read from that, and I also emailed that to you. We sent it last week, and then it's also in response to the email that you sent this morning, or just 20 minutes ago. So it's in the inbox. Brooke has it as well.
May I see that,
Yeah.
Brooke?
Again, I see where Amy is coming from on this, is
Right.
that they don't want to have to record a new condition, but the condition should remain just to address any future development. It shall exclude.
This is the deed restriction. Thanks, Brooke. There is an attached copy of 2018-13 conditions of approval.
I would prefer to keep this condition in there, but not to require any new covenants or conditions to be recorded because they've already been done. This is just reiterating the original condition that was there originally.
Correct.
But, you know, they've satisfied this condition. And I'm just trying to find a word or two that we can insert in 14 that condition remains.
Maybe would there be some, pardon me for interrupting, but maybe would it make sense to make reference to the recorded document 2019 12226? Wait a minute, how many twos are there? 42. 1, 12, 22, 6. I don't know if that does it.
Right, can I take a look at that again? This is a recorded document.
Correct.
Is that from the old report?
It's carried over from the old report. So here's what we're gonna do, and I think, Amy, this might address your concerns. We're gonna add a subsection C and just make note, deed restriction was recorded on 10/2/2019, document number 2019-1226. And that basically just says that it's recorded.
Yeah, super. And there's 3 2s in there, I think.
12226.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll
Perfect.
just add that subsection C, and that should address your concerns. It's just a carryover from the last, because anytime you do a new permit or you do a modification or an extension, you keep the existing conditions even though they may have been satisfied. But we're just gonna make it clear here under subsection C that this was recorded.
That's perfect. I really appreciate the time to see that language and for you to add, you know, to think our way through this, brainstorm our way through this and add subsection C. That works for us. I appreciate that.
Perfect, okay. So I think we've addressed that. So based on the evidence provided here, the project is basically receiving a modification or additions to the conditions. The findings remain the same per the staff report, and I'll go ahead and approve the project, deleting condition number 12, renumbering condition 13 to 12, renumbering 14 to 13, and adding condition number 14 as modified by staff, that basically includes a new subsection C, which reads deed restriction was recorded on 10/02/2019, document number 2019-12226. And that project is approved subject to these changes. And with that, do we have any matters from staff? Oh, by the way, thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 4, any matters from staff? Seeing none. Do we have any matters from the public? Is anybody wishing to speak under matters from public?
Don't believe so.
All right.
No requests have been received.
All right, with that, we move to item number 6, and item number 6 takes us to adjourning the meeting, and this is at 10:31 a.m.